Hi, welcome to CrossGen AI, and today we're going to demo building some new stuff with n8n. Important enough to watch my first video on how to set this up because I use some words and explanations that refer back to that video. So this is how we're quickly going to set up what I call personal life news. Full transparency, I'm actually not on video today because I got the flu. And this personal life hack checks my email every single day, triggers on a schedule every day. It goes for the last 24 hours and checks my personal email, summarizes it based on order of priority of things that I care about, and then sends an email to my work email address. Because I often find that I don't check my Gmail. I don't check my personal email for work day. I'm focused on work. And so consequently, while I was sick, I was checking my work email. There's something wrong with me, and what popped up was that I was spending a lot of money on a cloud computing service that I was trying to set up to do some fine tuning on some models. I would buy an AI workstation, but I wanted to test it out first. And so I did it on the cloud. And it turns out that the rate they say on the cloud of GPU hours, if you're not using the GPUs, the second you turn them on, you're paying. So you're paying that per hour. So multiply it by 24 hours a day. If it's $1, $2, $5, $6 an hour, yeah, it gets expensive fast, and kind of motivated me to buy that computer really quickly. Anyways, that's why this is useful. It's also, I think, useful for busy professionals where you are not checking your email and you want to know, hey, I got this bill that I missed or whatever. I care about, my kids doing whatever sport they're in and all those kind of things. Get rid of a lot of junk, but it sends a consolidated email of the last 24 hours to my email every day. In future videos, I'm just going to click into these nodes to show you what's going on. But in this case, I'm going to actually walk you through from scratch. So you can learn how to do that. Again, seeing the first video is important. So we're going to create a new workflow. First, we're going to add a step, as you saw, was a on schedule event. We're going to do that. It's already set up every day. And we want to trigger this at maybe like, I don't know, 8 a.m. news, 8 a.m. news feed. Okay, that's it. Since it goes off, and every 8 a.m. you want to trigger a, so you type AI H. Okay. And in this case, unlike the last video where we actually had it connected to like a chat GPT kind of interface, a chat, if you will, that's not the case here. So we actually need to change this. Click Define below, and that's going to allow us to actually enter a prompt. No different than you would doing with ChatGPT. You're writing this prompt in here. That's what's going to actually be asked every day at 8 a.m. We just chose. Okay. So every day at 8 a.m., I ask ChatGPT. It's on par with ChatGPT tasks is probably the way to think about it. The cool thing we're going to do here is first, we're going to add OpenAI. If you watch my first video, it would literally be this. To add ChatGPT to it, that's all. Click off it. I see it's red. It's going to go not red second there. Okay. Yeah, that's as easy as it is once you connect it that very first time. We do not need memory in this case because we're not chatting back and forth again. Refer to the first video. But we are going to add tools. This time we're going to add Gmail tools. Okay. And that's going to come up in this Gmail tool right here. And in this case, set description automatically. That's fine. That pretty much says, hey, agent, I can go and get your emails. If you find that doesn't work as well, you can go in there manually define it. But you do have to connect your Gmail the first time. I've already connected mine, but I want to show everybody. You just click on the sign in with Google thing here. And then get your pop-up. And then you wind up with account connected. After you go through that authorization process, I did not show it for security. You get this green thing that says you're connected. Fix that. Okay. And next, the resource is message. That's correct. But what we want to do is get many. And in this case, a limit 50 is fine. That means just so it doesn't blow it up. And then we're going to say receive after. Yeah, received after. And in this case, we like now. But see, if you do now here, it's in the fixed. It's going to be every time it's going to read it after this date. It's a fixed date. In this case, we want it to be dynamic. So we're going to click expression and delete that out. And sorry, but a little bit of code. We're going to say now right here. And that literally returns this timestamp. But now it's not now that we want now period minus 1 days. That's it. Okay. That's about as code as you get. I think you can understand what happened. Now it's time minus 1 day tells you what it is. So it is currently correct. Next, that is to get the messages. But what else do we have to do? We have to send the message as well. So we're going to click another one, consume. We already set this up. So your account's already up there. Now you're going to send the message, which is great. Info. In this case, it's going to be your email. You're Sean at crossgenai.com. That's my email for CrossGen. This would be like, whole subject would be person. So you can also make that dynamic if you really wanted to. from the prompt. Here, we're going to put the placeholder. Okay, see this here? It's very helpful. Tells you what to type. This from AI placeholder name. And in this case, the placeholder name is the thing you always replace. I'm sure they're going to make this a little easier to do next time, but you always have to type this email. Oh, no body. And I always like to give a description. I think it works better. So you say email body, make sure on expression as well. Right. Give me red because that was an expression I was trying to fix, which really means I would be typing the email body every time. Okay. And then the description is, email body to send with summary. And you can just as well, if you really wanted to, you could take this same thing and you could put it up here. You would go to expression and then paste it and say, you would change it to email header. Do note that the first part has to be continuous. It has to have underscores, spaces. This one's the comma is more descripted. See description, E versus description. All right. Last but not least, the actual prompt. Okay. Instead of trying to figure out the perfect prompt, I actually use ChatGPT to make a prompt for me. So we're going to say, I want check my email. I'm just going to misspell everything. So I'm going to copy all this right there. Copy. It's going to copy just this part here. We're going to go back. I'm going to put that into the prompt. Prompts right here. Put that back into the prompt. And then I'm going to expand it so we can see everything here. Here we type our priorities for our personal life. Okay. So I type these really fast. Anything about money, great. And anything about my son, I'm going to not put my son's name here right now for security purposes. And then my wife's name would go there as well. And about AI news. And it's going to give a kind of an output format. I like putting this 1 to 2 sentences, include email and sender, include why it's important to me, and give a link to the Gmail. Okay. I also want to say for the subject, it group with the same thing. All right, so it's testing the workflow, right? And it's doing a thing here, and it's actually checking the email. Great. And send it back here. It's going to do something with OpenAI to make it a new chat summary or the summary of the email, and that's going to send it over the email. That's going to just double check that it did everything, most likely. We should see it hit here next. Goes back here at the problem. And this is how you test things, truly. The more email you have, the more that takes that time to generate that first one. Okay, then you just go check your email box. It works. This did work the first time, and it wasn't quite how I want it formatted. I'm not going to show it just due to privacy reasons, but this workflow completely worked. And so what we're going to do is actually come in here. We're going to add pretty HTML at the bottom. Okay, send an email in pretty HTML. That starts to help. And you continue to work this for how you specifically want it. I will tell you the link worked. All that stuff was great. You may want to change the format for how you want, and you can just play with it at this point. But the fact is, it's working. You want to expand your list of things. You want to once, you could have memory. Yeah. Let's see. You could add an email checker later on where if you responded back to that email saying, I care about these things today, it could prioritize it temporarily in a future chat. And it's just starting to get the next level of advanced, but just really think outside the box. I mean, again, really, this is it. If you want to add emails, do whatever things emails, this is it. Just change the prompt. If you want it to check and respond to your customers with X, Y, and Z, do it. And here's the kicker. You have to be careful, not to have this one agent do everything. Okay. Cause if you try to have one thing to solve all for everything, first I want you to check for customers, respond to them this way. Then I want you to talk to finance, all my finance emails respond this way. And if you do that list in the prompt itself, it's going to lose its way over time. So instead, you should have an AI agent for each one. Okay. And it's just as simple as, lo and behold, copy and paste. And the wonderful thing about n8n is this action does not cost you any more money. That's it. Does not cost you more money. And you come up here and you're going to maybe retitle this agent to like, HR emails. And you're like, yeah, fine. All right. So you have your HR email one and you say, blah, blah, blah. And I want you to respond to all my HR related emails. Okay. Tons of other ways to do this that will cover up in the future. But this is just a simple way. And by the way, you have to do nothing else down here. It'll work. That's it for CrossGen AI. Hopefully this makes sense to people. If not, write some comments and I will explain things more in depth. Make sure you're checking out the first video I did on this to explain some of the other items here. But if you're clicking this and you have a fast, trigger with your emails, your Gmail setup and how fast you can type a prompt, that's the limitation really, how fast you type the prompt. And that's why I go to ChatGPT. This entire workflow, arguably you could do in 5 minutes or less. And then you can just continue to hone it for your use case. Make it you. Thanks for listening to CrossGen AI.